What's happening, Internet fam? So it is Sunday, December 1st, and it's about 9 p.m. tonight here in Honolulu. And I'm not recording the MasterNode news tonight. I've really been enjoying recording the MasterNode news, but some new news has come out today. I saw it on Discord. A couple of projects warned us that CryptoBridge will be closing. Now, CryptoBridge is an exchange I already had a problem with. They were a decentralized exchange, and yet they're a company running servers, and now they're shutting down. And actually, they forced everybody in the EU to be KYC as well. So I'm not really sure what was decentralized about CryptoBridge before, but it's pretty clear to me anyway that they are not decentralized at all and are in fact bad actors, have been bad actors, at least since government came and intervened and made them do the KYC thing. KYC, in case you don't know, is know your customer, know your client. And it's a way for governments to get a hold of your financial transactions, basically. Now, they say it's to stop terrorists and it's to stop drug cartels from money laundering, which we all know is BS because governments help cartels and terrorists money launder. In fact, most of the terrorists are funded by a government, one or the other, mostly for financial gain and, so that we have an enemy that we can fight, If we weren't funding ISIS directly, there wouldn't be an ISIS, and then we wouldn't have anywhere to drop these $50,000 drones on. That's a little bit of a side topic for a separate video, though. Basically, I'm really interested in where the rubber meets the road with cryptocurrency and how that's going, and it's going very badly. Currently, we don't have an exchange where you can buy or sell cryptocurrency anonymously with a credit card. It doesn't exist. There isn't one. There are places you can get cryptocurrency and exchange anonymously peer-to-peer, but it's very, very difficult. And already the government has been, different governments, I'm talking about the American government in this case, but the American government has already come in and impersonated regular people off the street, caught other people buying or selling Bitcoin, and then arresting them for not reporting the taxes on the Bitcoin. Now, of course, that's just the least of the problem. The real problem is the whole point of cryptocurrency, the whole reason why Satoshi created Bitcoin in the first place in 2008 was to stop government collusion with giant corporations and giant corporate banks from robbing the people blind, which they've been doing since their inception, certainly since the inception of the Federal Reserve in 1916 or 1913, depending on when you want to talk about when it was actually conceived or when it was actually implemented. But at any rate, the IRS is unconstitutional, the Federal Reserve is unconstitutional, all of these big institutions are unconstitutional. Most of our government is unconstitutional at this point. And they just want to continue to screw it to you, the consumer, and to all the other countries and all the other citizens of those countries by having absolute control of the financial system. That's why they created the petrodollar. That's why they created the Federal Reserve. That's why they created the IRS. And they're not going to stop. And the whole point of Bitcoin, the whole reason Satoshi created it, was so we can get out from that system and have a system that was actually free, open, and decentralized, where people could exchange goods and services with each other instantly, anonymously, privately, and securely. And because of government and because of the centralization of the services, because so many people are trying to get their little profit out of the system, that they've all bowed and kowtowed to the government. And that's why almost everything is KYC now, know your client, which is another word for Nazi. KYC means Nazi. I'm just going to say it. You're talking about somebody who's, I'm going to buy $100 worth of Bitcoin, and they're going to write you a little slip and send it to the IRS and say, hey, this guy bought $100 worth of Bitcoin at this price, at this time, from this IP address. And that's what Coinbase is doing. That's what Binance is doing. That's what Bittrex is doing. That's what, all of them are doing it. Even CryptoBridge. I was really excited about CryptoBridge when it came out because it was supposed to be a decentralized exchange. Decentralized means no government control, no KYC, all that stuff. I was very excited. And then, of course, the government found somebody running CryptoBridge, put their jackboot on the back of their neck and said, no, you're going KYC. And immediately they folded. It took about a month between or maybe 2 months from CryptoBridge to announce that they were going to be KYC to closing. They just announced their closing because obviously what's the point of having a decentralized exchange if they're just going to report to the government anyway? It's ridiculous. So, and and for me, obviously, I'm not a terrorist, you know. I'm a proud American. I love the Constitution. I was a big Ron Paul supporter in 2012. I'm a big believer in our democratic institutions and the Bill of Rights and all these things. You know, things that our current politicians don't believe in at all, like the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, you know, all these other, you know, everything else that's in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. So for me, it's very hard to watch this entire industry just be smothered, like, you know, just like drowned like a newborn infant. I mean, it is just hard to watch. And that's what's happening. That's what's happening with this KYC stomped down by the American government. And recently, a guy went to North Korea and was showing people in North Korea how to use cryptocurrency. And he is now being charged as a terrorist for showing North Koreans how to buy and sell Bitcoin. That's absurd. I mean, think about that. It's like so absurd. It's ridiculous. I mean, he wasn't helping them make missiles. He wasn't helping them spy on American citizens, which our government does all the time. They just renewed the Patriot Act again, even though it's completely unpatriotic and the opposite of everything that our government's supposed to be about: freedom, liberty, right to privacy, right to security, all that kind of stuff. The Patriot Act is hugely invasive. It just spies. It makes it so that the NSA can spy on all the American people all the time without any kind of repercussions. They don't need a warrant. They don't need anything. They just spy all the time on all of us. And it's very disappointing to watch that also. Just, you know, it started slow, and then just like once they figured it out, they just hit the gas on it, and they've just completely demolished the entire crypto industry. There's not an exchange you can use right now that's secure and private and anonymous and allows you to buy and sell crypto without reporting yourself to the government. And if you don't think that's a problem, you're a fascist, basically. And, you know, I see all these punks dressing up in black and beating up old ladies and stuff, calling themselves anti-fascist, but they're down at Starbucks using their credit card, using their bank card, using the corporate, you know, credit card system, you know, and they're not buying Bitcoin anonymously P2P, and they're not selling Bitcoin anonymously P2P, and they're not actually doing anything that's going to help us get out from underneath the fascist jackboot that our entire government system has become. I mean, the IRS is completely a fascist organization. They're taking your money and giving more than 70% of it to giant defense contractors to build robots to murder children in the third world. That's what's going on today with your tax money. You know, they're hiring recruiters to go to high schools and sell ignorant, poor teenagers in the worst communities in the country on all these dreams about what it's like to serve in the military and how you could be a hero and see the world. You know, and half of them end up with PTSD, end up with drug addiction, alcohol addiction, limbs missing, parts of their brain missing in some cases. It's just an absolute tragedy. And you know, you can make more money working at McDonald's than you do joining the military. That's real. That's real. Look it up. That's real. You know, unless you go in as an officer, which means you already have a college degree or you're on the college track or something. I don't know how it works. I would never sign up for the military. I would never sign up for the military. I would never join any government agency that this government is doing. Till they tell me who shot JFK, until they tell me who brought those buildings down on 9/11, until they tell me all the things that I want to know, until they abolish the IRS, abolish the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, the Federal Reserve, all of these unconstitutional garbage agencies that are doing everything they can to poison all of us, the entire world, all living things, not just humans, all living things. They're poisoning reefs, they're poisoning trees, they're planting GMO trees after they clear cut huge sections of forest. I mean, and now they're killing crypto. There isn't an app that you can use on your phone to easily buy and sell crypto. It doesn't exist. There's not one. There's still a few tools that you can kind of use, maybe, but, you know, again, given that the internet is completely controlled by Google, Amazon, and the government anyway, I mean, where Google, Amazon, and the government end and begin is an open question, because they're basically the same giant monolithic organization. I mean, just because some of it's private and the money goes back from the government to the private corporation and then back to the corporation to the government. I mean, just because some of it's like private doesn't mean that, you know, they're not all just one monolithic thing. They are. They absolutely are. And I mean, that's all been proven by these releases from Edward Snowden and other whistleblowers. And it's just so disappointing that here we are when the decentralized exchange is shutting down on December 15th, and you won't be able to buy or sell crypto on yet another avenue. The government is trying to do everything they can to squelch this technology. And if you don't think that Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan and the government aren't buying every little bit of Bitcoin they can and manipulating the price down so they can buy more, and then manipulating the price down and then causing a fake high and then selling it all and then waiting for it to crash back down and then buying it again and just ripping everybody off in the whole process, you're crazy. They're definitely doing that. The market manipulators, who are big governments and big corporations overwhelmingly, are just destroying this entire market, this entire industry. They're doing everything they can to torture and butcher and betray you, the American people, and not just us in this country, but every citizen of every country in the world. And it's not just the American government. I'm sure the Chinese government is doing the same thing. I'm sure the Russian government is doing the same thing. I'm sure the EU, all the countries in the EU are doing the same thing. So I talk about globalist fascism. They don't even have their own countries anymore. They're all just one big monolithic country now. And you know, if you're in a minority in some small, tiny little country that doesn't have as many votes, too bad. Whatever Germany and Britain says, that's how it goes. Although I guess Britain's leaving the EU. Right? They're leaving, yeah. When's this Brexit going to happen? The people obviously want out of the European Union. They voted against it. That's what they voted for, Brexit. And they're still in the European Union because your vote isn't counted. Your vote doesn't matter. These people don't care about your vote. You think your vote's going to stop the CIA and the NSA and the FBI and the CIA? I mean, it's never. It's not going to happen. They're going to continue to fly in opiates from Afghanistan. They're going to continue to litter our streets with heroin junkies. They're going to continue to push horrible, toxic pharmaceuticals on everybody in the country through government corruption and by paying the doctors directly. It's just so dirty and so horrible and so sad. And the crypto market's no exception. We're right there. We need hackers. We need real hackers to release real tools for a real decentralized market. We need a way where we can either, PayPal or Venmo or something, cash in and out of the crypto market anonymously and privately. We need that so badly. We need to liberate ourselves. We need to liberate our children. We need to liberate children in other countries too. I mean, it's even worse in other countries. China's a good example. The stuff that the Chinese government does to the Chinese populace is absolutely, it's unthinkable by American terms. And we're willing to just, roll over and pay the IRS every year so that they can build more robots to murder children in tents in the wrong part of the world. It's like, it's absurd. The whole situation is absurd. The whole world is absurd. You should be angry. I'm angry, and you should be angry. And we need the tools to Robin Hood our way out of this. Because the government's never going to stop. They're never going to give up their power with the petrodollar. So we have to take it away from them. We have to take it away from them by not using the petrodollar. We need to switch to crypto. We need to switch to anonymous, private, decentralized crypto that we can exchange between each other with any other crypto freely with atomic swaps, and there won't be anything the government can do about it. That's what we need. We need it now. We need it 5 years ago. We need it 10 years ago. And it's so infuriating to watch, talk to my friends. Oh yeah, I'm buying some more Bitcoin on Coinbase today because the price was down a little bit. Okay, great. You're still going to get completely raped by the IRS, JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the Chinese government, Amazon, Google, Verizon. It doesn't matter. Okay, so your $200 worth of Bitcoin is now worth $250. Good job, buddy. You're still paying 75% taxes. When it comes down to income tax, sales tax, state tax, federal tax, estate tax, all these taxes, you're still paying over 70% taxes. So you made $50 on your brilliant Bitcoin strategy. How is that going to help you when you're out 70% of your income to a government and corporations? And that's not even the worst part. That 70% is the government, right? The government's taking 70% of your money with taxes. The other 20, 30% is all going to giant corporations who are in bed with the government, who are part of the government. They got government funding when they were started. Facebook, Google, Amazon, they were all started by DARPA. They were all got their seed money from DARPA. And so what? So all of your money is going to the government and going to these corporations. 99% of it. Unless you live in the country and go to the farmer's market and buy all your food at the farmer's market, try to buy local from local shops. Try to do what you can. Build it yourself. Do DIY. Grow it yourself. Build it yourself. DIY. That's the only way out of this. And we need a DIY, grow it yourself, build it yourself, P2P, anonymous, decentralized, secure, fast, easy to use system that works on open source software and open source hardware. We've got open source hardware and software now. That part of the puzzle is there. We have the Pine Book, we have the Pine Phone, we have Lineage OS, we have DevOne. We've got these great open source tools where we could really get out from underneath Google and Amazon and Facebook and all that stuff. But nobody is. They're on their iPhone, taking Prozac, on Facebook, drinking a Starbucks high fructose corn syrup latte. And how is that going to make the world that you leave for your kids? Okay, so a lot of people aren't having kids. I'm not going to have kids, right? No responsibility if you don't have kids, right? Other people are having kids. There's still going to be kids coming into this world, whether you have them or not. What is the world you're leaving behind going to be like for those kids, or those kids' kids, your nephews, nieces, cousins' kids, whatever? Have some responsibility, take some responsibility, and do the right thing. Stop shopping at these giant corporations, Walmart, Amazon, Google, stop it. Stop shopping at these giant corporations. Stop paying taxes. Stop paying the government to build robots to murder children in the third world. These terrorists are mostly teenagers in tents. So, I'm sorry, they hate our freedom? They don't know anything about us. They're ignorant hillbillies in tents in the third world, and one day they wake up, and they don't wake up because a drone just struck and killed them and everybody around them, and aunts and uncles and grandparents and babies and everybody, cats and dogs too. I mean, just the whole, these drone strikes. Oh, surgical precision. Yeah, we've heard that one before. We've seen the videos. We know what that surgical precision is. They're murdering, 200-300 people at a time. Whole weddings, whole churches, whole schools, whole hospitals. They're bombing everybody because they make money on the bombs. So of course they're going to keep dropping bombs. And that money is money they extract from you with taxes. The unconstitutional and illegal IRS is taking your money and using it to build robots to murder children. And somebody got sick of it and invented Bitcoin. And he's a hero. Whoever Satoshi was, probably Dave Kleiman, but we don't really know. Whoever invented Bitcoin was a hero. And they gave us something beautiful. And we're not using it, and we're not using it right. You're just putting your money on exchange, getting ripped off, having all your reports sent to the IRS, and it's just sad. It's just sad because this was our chance. This was our chance to take it back, and we still can, but we have to do it now. We need an app now that we can use on our phone to trade crypto without the government, without corporations. We need it now. We need it 10 years ago. So yeah, I'm taking the night off, MasterNode News. Hope you guys all had a great weekend and enjoy your day back at work tomorrow on Monday, making that money to pay those taxes to murder those children in the third world.